Joining us on the broadcast is Surinder Singh Lali. He's a political analyst, international affairs in Canada-US relationship. Apart from that, he's also spokesperson for Sikh organization. So thank you so much for speaking to News 9. How do you exactly look at these reports emerging in of, IC getting inside the places of worship to conduct their raids?
Thank you, Sakshi. It's a pleasure and honor for me to be here. And, this is Donald Trump 2.0, Donald Trump unplugged. And it's actually going into a lot of uncharted spaces, which the previous American dispensations never did. But however, in this debate, I wish to speak as a proud Indian Sikh and not, choose to represent any organization, because I'm also an equal stakeholder in Sikh religion as much as any of the other 2.4 crore people are. In the West, the Gurudwaras have really served a much larger purpose than just places of worship, because it provides a lot of emotional support, spiritual support, food, shelter, and the community kitchen, which is what we call the langars, have been acknowledged by every possible country, which is with the United Nations. But yes, sometimes they do cross the Lakshman Rekha, and I myself stopped going to the Richmond Inn Temple in New York, where I lived for 10 years, because they have pictures of Bhindranwale, and especially next to our gurus. So I'm not too sure what Bhindranwale did to earn, the kind of sacred space that our gurus did. So there are some, not many, where they are a front for all these sorts of nefarious activities. And case in point, Canada. I mean, the likes of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu and the Nijars, they have been openly spewing venom against my country from these foreign soils. And these Western economies nourish them under the bogey of free speech because of their vested political interest, or the so-called deep state. So my point is very simple, that as long as, first of all, I welcome, I think that I not too sure agree with Saldef in complete totality, because if there is nothing happening in the Gurdwaras, then why should we be worried? As long as it is not selective on racially profiling and well within the parentheses of the law. That is one. And number two, I mean, Sakshi, in eastern part of the world, religion is a way of life, and a lot of places where, politicians have failed, or the justice system has failed, religion comes to people's refuge. And religion is a very important aspect on our lives in the eastern part of the world than the Western way of life. So I would expect, in fact, the Gurdwara committees and the dispensations and the organizations to further facilitate and ensure that these law enforcement agencies, when we walk into a temple, they maintain the decorum, the dignity, the protocols, and the sanctity of it, because they might not know. They can wear church and go into shoes and go into a church, but we don't do that. So as long as I don't think any Gurdwara or any place of worship for that matter is not harboring such individuals, which in some cases are, they should welcome. I mean, religion and politics, 1984 and Operation Blue Star, to say the least. I mean, look what had happened. And now also in Canada, what's going on? So I feel that there should further accommodate, because if you've chosen to move to the United States of America, if you have streets named after, Guru Nanak and Guru Tegh Bahadur in Queens, and I've been a part of the 6-day parade. There are over 10 parades where we walk through the streets of Manhattan, and the streets are blocked. We get police protection because we have given our right to express our religious freedom. So if we want that, then we have to respect the law of the land, which we have chosen to make our second home, where we've done phenomenally well. I mean, not just Sikhs, but Indians. So we have to understand that we cannot sort of wear our religion or our sleeves in these economies, because above our places of worship is the law of the land and their sovereign space, and they have the right to change laws as long as they are done in a democratic parliamentary manner.
But Mr. Lally, don't you think this is going to create some sort of trouble for the people who are actually trying to, seek the immigration legally or are already staying there legally? Is that not a step to create the fear-mongering aspect for them?
Sakshi, now we're moving on from Sikh religion and from the original topic to Donald Trump. Yes, I mean the way Donald Trump in the first week has sort of spurred the hornet's nest and he's gone all over the place and changed, for example, citizenship by birth. So there is a lot happened in too short a time, and if you really want to look at that, then the January 6th pardon that he did itself is a big matter of concern in the United States. So yes, there will be gray areas. This will end up with more division in the American way of life, especially on the basis of color, caste, and creed. Because in the US, when you talk about foreigners, I mean, America was made by a lot of Irish and German and Greek and French, but the moment Donald Trump speaks about the word foreigner, the first perception in the WASPy American minds is brown and, black skinned, or people who come across the border, yellow skinned. So yes, this is going to have its collateral damage too. I mean, not only for just the Sikhs, but even for our India ministry, the foreign ministry, because Donald Trump is going helter-skelter in any direction, trying to polarize the world. And yes, it is going to create a divide. But I think the jury's still out. We'll see how it pans out and the dust settles. But yes, us Indians, and speak especially because we wear a turban, so we can be easily identified. I mean, when I was a student there in high school, I remember there was a gang called the Dot Busters, where people in Jersey would start physically harming Indian women because they wore a bindi or a dot on their head. And now with social media and the kind of algorithms and the bromance between Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the kind of power he wields, there could be a lot of polarization happening. I mean, forget this. They're going in, they're going into, Elon Musk is going and commenting on Germany and England and, Greenland. So the jury's out, and I'm really keeping my fingers crossed to how this is going to pan out. But as a Sikh, all I have to say is that since we've chosen that as our second home, we should well respect the law of the land, because end of the day, we are in between on their soil and their law of the land. And we can always go and vote the party out if we don't agree with the way they are panning out their politics.
So let's circle back to how the Sikh community is going to respond to this particular policy shift that has come into the picture. Mr. Suninder, if I could ask you that, Sikh community, particularly, there are reports that some of the Gurudwaras are the hubs for Sikh separatists, and you have named a couple of those yourself, and to have the undocumented immigrants. How exactly the rest of the Sikhs are going to respond to this now?
You see, first and foremost, that's a very good question, that we have to be very objective with our analysis. Unfortunately, in the eastern part of the world, we think through the prism of our religion. I mean, in any country you look, I mean, religion and politics probably pays the highest dividends. So what I am doing, to the best of my little knowledge and prudence and rationality available to me, is that I would look at it in an objective manner. I wouldn't, react, and I would rather act, which means, once again, that I need to understand that if I have chosen that country as my land, if I can have those palatial houses and those big cars, and my kids can go to these fantastic Ivy League colleges, and if I can enjoy that quality of life, that's probably the reason why they left home. So if you have made that choice will come with some added responsibility too. You can't really have the cake and eat it, as they say.